Good morning, guys. Today is November 10th, 2020, and this is our live lesson for today. We're going to start with our story for this week. It's called Soccer Shootout. You should have watched the teamwork video yesterday, the vocabulary video, and started on the book with Miss Johnson. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go through and talk about our vocabulary words. Alright, so our weekly vocabulary. Our first word is apprehensive. If you are apprehensive, you are worried something bad might happen. Dr. Lee felt apprehensive about going skydiving. Technical. The technical parts of a sport are the basic skills and understanding that are needed to play. So, for example, a technical skill in basketball would be dribbling or shooting. A technical skill in baseball would be throwing or hitting. So technical skills are those basic skills that you need in order to be able to play a sport. Deflected. If you deflected something that was moving, you made it go into a different direction. Sam deflected the soccer ball away from the open net. Competition. If you are in a competition, you are in a contest against another person or team. On Fridays, we have a tug-of-war competition. Intercepted. If you intercepted something, you stopped it from getting to where it was going. Micah intercepted the football when the other team threw it. Intercepted. And our last word is sprawling. If you move in a sprawling way, you spread out your arms and legs. Emily's mom playfully pushed her and sent her sprawling on top of the leaves. So this story, the genre, is realistic fiction. We've been talking a lot about plays and dramas. This is a different genre. Okay, so realistic fiction tells a story about characters and events that are like those in real life. So this story is fiction, so it's not true, but it could be true. It's stuff that happens in real life. Authors of realistic fiction tell the story through the plot, the main events of the story. Realistic fiction includes characters who act, think, and speak like real people. And make sure you're watching out for that theme or that lesson from this story. Okay, so make sure when you are in reading today, make sure you're listening to that story carefully and looking for that theme, because they are going to ask you about that on Friday. Moving into math. Go ahead and grab a piece of paper and a pencil, pause the video, and when you're ready to go, I want you to write these numbers on your page. Alright, so we're going to start with 488 plus 230. Okay, now look here, guys. This is addition. This is subtraction. You need to make sure you're looking out, because on Canvas, I mixed in yesterday some addition and some subtraction, and I noticed some people did not do very well on that. Make sure you're looking out for those symbols. Don't just assume that that's addition, because it's not. So when we add and subtract, we always start in the ones place, and we have 8 plus 0 is 8. Make sure you're doing these with me, please, on your paper. 8 plus 3 is 11, so I'm going to put my 1. I'm going to carry my 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 2 more is 7. 718. Okay. Over here, 935 minus 666. So we have 5 minus 6. Okay, guys, I can't do that. Remember, sometimes you're going to have to borrow. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do. You got to make sure. If I have 5 apples, I don't have enough to let somebody take away 6. I don't have enough. So I have to borrow. So I'm going to come over here to the 3. My 3 turns into a 2. My 5 stays here. And the 1 that I borrowed turns my 5 into a 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. Okay, now look here, because this caught some people off guard yesterday. 2 minus 6. Again, if I have 2 apples, I don't have enough for somebody to take away 6. So I have to borrow again. I'm going to borrow from my 8, or my 9. It's going to turn into an 8. Now, this 3 does not exist anymore, okay? I have a 2. My 1 does not go to my 3. The 1 that I borrowed goes to my 2 and turns my 2 into a 12. So now I have 12 minus 6 is 6. And 8 minus 6 is 2. Okay? You may have to borrow all 3 times, and that is okay. You just need to make sure whether or not you need to. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Okay? If this confused you, I want you to go back in the video, rewrite it on your paper, and do it with me again slowly. Take the steps, go through it slowly, and see if you do it again, if you understand it a little bit more. Okay? Guys, it's all about understanding, is this number bigger than this number? If it's not, I need to borrow. Alright. Let's move on to our practice. Remember, we have a Math CA next Tuesday. So these questions are getting us ready for that Math CA. Okay. So again, we're always going to use something called CUB. Circle, underline, and box. Tyrese had 572 baseball cards. He sold some of the baseball cards and then had 98 baseball cards left. Which equation could not be used to find the number of baseball cards Tyrese sold? Okay, so 572 baseball cards. So we always circle our numbers and our labels. 98 baseball cards. Okay, so there's circling. Now we're going to underline our question. Which equation could not be used to find the number of baseball cards Tyrese sold? Okay, we underlined our question. Now we're going to box our keyword. So we have 2 keywords here. Not is very important. And sold. What does sold mean I'm doing? Yep, if you said subtraction, you are correct. I'm subtracting. Okay? So let's look. He started with 572. He sold some of the baseball cards and then had 98. Now, you have to watch out here because it's not saying that he has 572 and he sold 98. It says that he sold this mysterious number and now he has 98. Okay, you have to read that carefully. Then he had 98 left. So if you look here, 572 minus something equals the amount he had left. So that's correct. But we want which one is not. Okay? You can also find, you will get the same answer if you subtract this. I'm sorry, 98. Okay? You will still get that mystery number. So 572 minus 98. I know that I'm subtracting, guys. I know I'm subtracting, okay? Sold, how much he had left. All of these are subtracting words, all right? So then we still have our mystery number. 98 plus that mystery number is going to get me back to that original total. Okay? So I know that's correct. The one that I'm never going to do, I'm not going to add 572 and 98. Okay? That number 572 is not going to change. That's what he started with. If we add 98 to it, then he's gaining baseball cards. Okay? We're not gaining baseball cards. He's losing baseball cards. So I know J is my answer. That is the one that cannot be used to find how much he sold. Okay? Everybody understand? All right. So you have to pay attention here. Remember, you're going to circle your numbers and your labels. You're going to underline your question. And you're going to box those keywords. Okay? And look at all this work that I showed on my paper. Make sure you're doing that. Okay? Use that scratch paper. Use your journal to show your work and to figure out the right answer. Okay? I know with the word left and sold that I'm looking for subtraction. Subtraction, subtraction. Okay? So that leaves me with these 2 addition ones. Alright? But I know 572 is still going to be my starting point. I'm not going to get higher than 572 because I'm taking away from 572. So if I have this magic number and I work backwards, that would be 572 minus this magic number is 98. I'm not trying to get to a bigger number. So this one is not the way to do that. Okay. And our teacher had 736 crayons. So remember, we are doing cub, circle, underline, box. 736 crayons. She threw away 197 broken crayons. Then she bought 150 more crayons. Which equation shows how to find the number of crayons the art teacher has now? Okay, so she started with 736. Okay, she threw away. What does that mean? Threw away. Does that mean you're adding or subtracting? It means you're subtracting. Then she bought 150 more. Does that mean you're adding or subtracting? That means you're adding. So I know I'm subtracting 197. I threw away 197. I know I'm adding 150 because I bought 150. Okay? So, let's look here. 736 minus 197 plus 150. Which answer choice matches that? B. Okay, these questions are a matter of looking at those words. Threw away 197. I know I'm subtracting. Bought 150. I know I'm adding. And I know what number I'm starting with. 736. Alright, last question. There were 25 people in a library. So we have 25 people. Some people left the library and went home. Then there were 13 people remaining. Which number line represents one way to determine the number of people who left the library? So we want to know how many people left, okay? Don't get confused by this 13. That's not how many people left. That's how many people are remaining in the library. That's how many people are still in there. Okay, so let's look at this number line. We started with 25 people. Okay, so 25, 25, 25, 25. We started with 25 people. Okay, and we know a certain number of people left. We don't know how many, but we know there were 13 people remaining in the room. Okay, so if people left, are we going to go backwards on the number line? Or are we going to go forwards on the number line? If people are leaving, that means our number is getting smaller. So we're going to go this way. So I know I'm not going to get bigger than 25. So I know F is not an answer. Okay? Now, we're going from 25 to 13 people. Okay? So 13 is about here. Okay? So, I have 25. Okay, this one is starting at 0 and 13. This one doesn't even start at 25, so I know H is not my answer. This one doesn't even go to 25. So we have G. G goes from 25 to 13. Actually, it's starting at 0. Do you see the arrows here? It's starting at 0, going to 13, going to 25. Okay? So that's not correct. Look at this one here. This one goes to 25 and then goes back to 13. So that would be our answer. Okay?